Your music.
It wasn't working. That's what I was trying to say. Am I live? Because I don't see anything. Oh, it says it's streaming live. Wow. Hello, you guys. I am just doing this for the first time. If you're a part of the Empowered Connection Circles or the Rewrite the Narrative Movement Facebook group, join us there. Roxy's with me. Hey, Roxy. And we have
Hello,
some
everybody.
we may have some other people joining. I wanted just to share a little bit about my journey as a psychiatrist, but also my journey in becoming a coach. So it's been a roller coaster ride, but a wonderful one, right? Many of you guys have seen me posting things online regarding burnout, regarding health equity, and really just inspiring people to really walk in their truth and their divine purpose. Uh, for me, my divine purpose has been just a road of multiple different steps, right? Uh, I like to think about my life as a roadmap of resiliency, but I also know that resiliency can come in all different types of shapes and sizes. Some people may have experienced their own traumas in their life. Some people may have experienced work traumas. Some people may have not experienced those type of traumas at all. Maybe it's just racial traumas. Maybe it's just traumas related to what's happening in society. But as women of color leaders, we all know that we have this mission to support equity in our lives and also in the lives of other folks. Some of us self-elect to work in places where no one else would even volunteer to work just because we love what we do so much. But, in doing that work, you may find yourself feeling isolated, right? Isolation is something that I think we all can relate to a certain degree because of the COVID pandemic. Some of us may have been single during that time and recognize what it was like to be someone who couldn't get out to your with your peers or your friends or even your family members to connect. Some people may feel social isolated because they may be coming from another country. And when they come to a new country, they may face challenges with connecting with folks or feeling validated for their own lived experiences and their culture. But some of us are feeling isolated, even if we are in the place that we were meant to be, meaning like we took the career path to be a doctor, or we took a career path to be an attorney, or we took a career path to be an engineer, and we did the work, right? Or a business owner. And rightfully so, we have a lot of business owners who are part of the Rewrite the Narrative masterclass that I met in June, July, and August. So for 3 months, you guys, I did a marathon of masterclasses around burnout for women of color. And it was called Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass. And the idea around that masterclass was to invite women of color to talk about their stories, their unique stories. I gave them, I'm going to go back to what I was talking about before, but I'm going on a tangent a little bit because I want you guys to get the history around Dr. Gordon's mission to overcome burnout and also invite other women to overcome burnout too. So I invited them using my resources because all roads lead to resources in my mind. And I have some resources, so I wanted to share them with the world. So after going through 12 months of burnout on my own and trying to figure out how do I overcome this, God gave me something that I wanted to share. And this was these exercises that I use to overcome burnout in my own life. And it's not to say that I've overcome it completely, because I don't want to lie to you guys. Burnout is a poison. It's like this sneaky thing that keeps popping back up, and it's really based on these choices that you make. But over the course of the past 3 months, June, July, and August, I invited women to participate in the masterclass to overcome burnout in their own life. We talked about reconnecting with people's purpose. We talked about building a leadership roadmap for sustainability. We even talked about embodiment, and those resiliency practices that we all need to use to amplify our mission with intention. and actually engage in our own purposeful living and pathways. So, with that being said, I gave these women an opportunity to complete an assessment to really look at burnout from their own perspective, right? We all probably have people that talk about vicarious trauma, secondary trauma, burnout in the workplace. And certainly we have a lot of women of color leaders who are in mass exodus leaving the workplace. But no one had asked the question to them in these women that I interviewed about what burnout was for them, right? How their experiences were unique than experiences from other people. So we gave them the opportunity to do the soulful restoration assessment. That's what I called it. And the results were phenomenal. And the breakthroughs for those women were phenomenal, them understanding and appreciate their own journey with burnout. I invited them, some of them, not all of them, but I invited some of them to participate in an exercise where they would get their own personalized feedback around burnout. And for those people who received that feedback, give me a holler, tell me how it went for you. There are certainly more people who are waiting to get that feedback from me, but I'm only one person. But I'm on a mission to help people feel more inspired around that. So now we are closing the doors for the Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass, right? For the next three months. We're going to pick back up in January. And the reason for that is a special gift that God gave to me, my miracle babies. I can't say more than that because I'm going to get in trouble with my hubby. But I have a little thing that's happened in my life that's going to put me on pause temporarily as it relates to the Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass. But we also invited women to join my coaching program, right? For 12 months to go through a journey of overcoming burnout with a collective, with a healing circle. We call it healing circle in empowered connection circles. These empowered connection circles bring in change makers, leaders, storytellers, healers, entrepreneurs, coaches, health executives together in one room to have this conversation that needs to be had. Y'all see what's happening in the world. I'm a child psychiatrist. We're having shootings in schools, right? And this is not new, right? Our kids are suffering, and the women who serve those kids are suffering too. And so we're inviting people to just recognize what impact that's having on their lives. How is that showing up in their lives? How is that preventing them from being able to live with authenticity, with radiant authenticity and courage? Hey, Sherry. Sherry's a part of our Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass. I don't even know, Roxy. You got to check and see if I'm on Facebook because I'm still on the Zoom and I can't tell if people are seeing me on Facebook or not. So if you can sign off and
Yes,
go.
I can see you.
Okay. So, Sherry, we're doing something a little bit interesting. We decided to go Facebook Live to have a conversation with folks around burnout. And you are a part of the Empowered Connection Circle. So you're live on Facebook. Hello. Oh, wow. You didn't know that was happening, huh? Can I tell you why it happened, Sherry? I'm going to be honest. We made a mistake. As an entrepreneur, and people who are in the entrepreneurial space, we're trying to make it easier for women, like bring equity in all aspects of their life and so they can have more flexibility. So I signed on to a program, a Go High Level program, where you can kind of do some automations. But even with automations, you can make mistakes. So we're not even sure if we invited all the 1,100 women that we wanted to invite to this event. So we decided to go on Facebook so more people can hear kind of what's happening today. But Sherry, you just been a bright light in the Empowered Connection Circles, and you're part of the ambassador program because you came on. What was that? Was it June or July that you came on?
I think it was June.
Okay. So one of my faithful followers, I love you, Sherry. Thank you for joining. And I still owe you a personalized one-to-one. So we need to book that because that one-to-one is going to give you that feedback. And I know it's been delayed, but becoming a soul entrepreneur, I got some help, because Roxy's been helping me and some other social media folks has been helping me. Becoming a soul entrepreneur as a child psychiatrist has been a journey in itself. And I can almost cry thinking about how hard this work is and rewarding at the same time, right? But you experienced some of the Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass and maybe have some insights that you can share in the chat, or you want to kind of come off your camera and share. I would love to hear what this experience was like for you. Maybe we can talk about that online if you want to. If you don't want, just put in the chat, Dr. Gordon, I did not sign up to be talking to all these people via Facebook. That's okay too. Because then I'll pick on Roxy.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay. So tell me what the experience was like for you from June to August, if you don't mind.
Okay. First of all, it is enlightening. It helps you take a better look or a closer look at yourself and what's going on. So even
Oh, we lost Sharon for a minute.
disconnecting, and I don't know why. I
Yeah, I
think
think that okay, you're on you're back again.
Mhm.
okay. I keep disconnecting. I'm not sure what's happening. My internet connection says it's strong. I don't
You
know
look
what to
good
do.
today, by the way. You look like fabulous. I'm like looking at your
Thank
earrings,
you.
your hair.
Thank
I'm like, what?
you very much.
We twins. We twins today. Look at all of us.
um, but it's been very enlightening, and I might even put some in the chat so in case we break up again, you can read it. But I have this journal. I've been answering the questions in the workbook that you gave us, and I learned that in order to rewrite a narrative, I have to remember or know what the old narrative was.
Mhm. Oh, wow. I love what you said. You have to know what the old narrative was to rewrite anything, right? In the movie, when you're watching the movie and it's like, rewind, rewind.
Okay, I think I'm gonna have to relocate, like change my location. I was trying to enjoy some nice weather while
Oh,
being on.
I love that you're doing that. And if you want to, sometimes you can't show your face, and that's okay if you just want to turn your
Okay,
camera off because the
and that'll
bandwidth
help.
messed up. Yeah, the bandwidth messed up, and you can just talk. It's fine. Because I don't want you to feel like you can't enjoy the weather outside. That was the whole purpose. We want people to feel rested, in our
Right,
program.
right.
Um, and you said something that I want to talk about, which is how sometimes people will come and they'll tell you a story about their life, right? But it's almost like a recording, right? So it's like your brain is actually repeating a story, but you don't necessarily hear the story anymore. You just feel the story, right? So although you know the story because you experienced it, it's not like you're lying about your own story. You're responding to that story with feelings, right? And so at some point, it's almost like you're talking to people about this story and you want them to feel what you feel, but they never will be able to feel what you feel, right? And they'll never be able to experience how much their recording is playing in your head about whatever you've experienced, right? Yet, we need other people to be able to validate our experiences for us to heal. But sometimes when we tell our story, we actually have to hear our story. And the best way to hear your story is if somebody repeat it back to you. They may not repeat it back the way in terms of how you felt it, but the best way to hear your story is to hear somebody else tell their story. And you be like, that's my story. That happened to me. Oh my God. She said what I was going to say. So what I experienced, Sharon, tell me if you agree. Some of the women was telling their story, and another woman was like, "That's my story too. You just told my story."
That is the case. Yes,
That's what happened.
I found myself in so many of the other women that were there, and it was kind of good and comforting to know that, um, that I'm not crazy. This is happening someplace else, like all over the world, because everybody was coming from different places. But it was good to know that somebody else has a similar experience.
Mm. It was good to know. It felt so good to me that even today, I wake up in the morning and I start my praise and worship because Roxy know I like to sing. This morning, I was not able to do it, by the way, and I'll tell you why later. But I was not able to do it. But I listened to. I read my scripture and I kept it moving because it was a busy day. But I noticed that when I'm listening to like my music during the day, I start thinking about all the women that I talk to, right? And Roxa can tell you, I've spoken to 90 women on my own dime because nobody paid me for it. I've spoken to 90 women over the last 3 months and heard their individual stories. Some women was for 15 minutes, some women was for 30 minutes. Some of the women was for an hour because they had to talk and I had to listen. But what I found out from that experience is that I'm not alone. We're not alone, right? Um, that some of us have been hurting so long that we forgot what it was like to not hurt. And some of us have felt stuck so long that we forgot that we didn't have to stay stuck. Like it's a little bit of resistance and ambivalence when you go through that stage of transformation. You know that you hit a brick wall when you touch burnout, right? It's like I can't go left, I can't go right, can't go in front, can't go back. So what do I do? For me, that was a wake up call. And Sherry, you said that part about being stuck. That was a wake up call for me. So the areas of improvement that I've been, inviting people to think about was what it would look like if you decided that for once in your life, success was going to be defined by you and you alone. How can we redefine success? Roxy, what do you think about that? Like redefining success as a woman of color, as a Black woman especially, but as a woman of color.
Yeah, I definitely think, like Sherry was saying, that you have to know the narrative you were saying. So like some of the narratives we have about what success is even not even the story we wanted to participate in. It's just somebody else's idea of what success was supposed to be. So I think at the point of us being mature is like, okay, well, I can't operate in that. I don't even think that suit was for me. That suit was not my size. I'm ready to move on to something that's my fit. And that's like a whole process in itself.
When you said the suit, it just reminded me of the white coat.
Yeah, like it's stuffy, has no colors, it has no movement. You can't even move in it.
Yeah, when I entered into medical school, this was years and years ago. So in 2002, Sherry, I became a medical student in New Orleans. And this was before Katrina. So if you can imagine, a few little years later, in 2005, Katrina hit New Orleans. But I was in New Orleans during college, and I remember going to historical Black college, Xavier University, and really feeling empowered because I was around a bunch of people who really invested their time and energy into me and told me that one, not only can I be a physician, but I can change the lives of my community. And that was just profound. And then I went to another school, a school that I love and I'm still affiliated with as an adjunct professor. And I felt I had a very different experience. I felt isolated. And it wasn't that the people wasn't kind or nice or loving. Some of that was there. A lot of that actually was there. But I felt isolated because I knew that when I walked off that campus and I took off my white coat, people would not recognize who I was. And I had many, many experiences where I would go to a grocery store or be in the same neighborhood that's near the facility. And I took off that white coat and I was just another Black person to them. They didn't even know who I was. And I was like, I look like the same Kimberly. Am I like losing my mind? And for a while, there was a lot of shame with that. I don't know why I felt shameful. I still to this day don't understand that part. But I think I felt actually, that's not true. I think I felt a little bit of shame because I recognized at that moment that I hadn't arrived yet. And my whole goal in terms of success was to arrive, right? So there was something that I recognized that was happening within me about what success looked like. Because if that doctor who I just rotated with didn't recognize me when I took off that white coat, then that means I didn't pass into that echelon of success, right? Somehow I didn't fit the mold. So maybe I just don't speak like they do. Let me work on my accent. So that country girl changed a little bit, but I couldn't keep it because I'm just not, I'm not fluent in language the way some people are where they can just cross or whatever. So that didn't work. I said, well, maybe I can lose some weight, but I love Southern cooking. So that didn't work either. Or maybe I can read more books. So I read more books and I got more knowledge. And I'm thankful for that. But that meant I was in the library after hours when everybody else went to a party. When people went on vacations, I thought I had to study harder, And for 10 years of my life, I don't think I went on a vacation. And unfortunately, things was happening in my life too. My mom passed away. My grandmother passed away. I didn't have the financial resources of other people so you can imagine the medical school, particularly medical school where they have predominant individuals, Caucasians who have a lot of money, parents or doctors, whatever. They're going to Costa Rica, they're going to Africa, they're doing service. And I'm like, I can't even pay my bills. I can't pay my book tuition. And so that was demoralizing for me. And that was my unique experience. And maybe other people shared that experience. But I was also in medical school, I was homeless, right? So I always tell people Katrina was my thing. Like it saved me because Katrina, although it was tragic and it is very tragic and hurt me too, I was able to leave an environment that wasn't necessarily seeing me the way I wanted to be seen and go into another environment in Baltimore where I was seeing doctors who looked like me, who was really thriving, who had equity in their lives. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be like them. I want to be like them. And, I've been through my journey there. But I shared that story to say that success for me was passing a certain level of achievement, right? And I achieved that. And then I realized that I was probably the most unhappiest person I could possibly be achieving a high level of success. And it wasn't because I didn't have all the things, right? It wasn't because I didn't have love in my life, because I certainly have a lot of love in my life. I have a supportive husband, a supportive family. I live in a nice neighborhood. But because I was seeing inequities in my own life in comparison to my peers, I was seeing inequities in my patient's life in comparison to other patients I saw. And for me, those inequities just felt so unfair that I was enraged. Have you ever been driving down the street in your car and you're like, I just can't stand these people. Get out of the way. So I'm living in this nice neighborhood and I'm seeing all these happy people walking around with their dogs and their happy lives. And I'm thinking, I just left this woman's house and she can't even pay her bills and there's roaches everywhere. How is that right? And it's in the same neighborhood. It's just right down the street. In Baltimore, we have a lot of that. And I just couldn't tolerate it. I know I'm talking a lot and sharing my story, but this is Facebook Live. I wondered if anybody have questions because I really can't see if people have questions.
I don't see any questions
Yeah.
on this, but I also was thinking about something that you said about about the whole weight thing. I remember like a big part of my life before I was a fitness instructor, and I just remember thinking if I could get down to I don't even remember. I passed that number and I was like the smallest I had ever been, but it was probably the most stressful part of my life. Like my marriage was like under a lot of stress. And I had even like my kids were going through their little change. I had like a toxic friendship that just made everything so multiplied. But I just remember being like, oh, I finally got to my goal. Like I've done all these classes like to be a master body pump was the thing I was crazy over at that time. And I just remember being like, I'm miserable right now. And like, and I'm hungry. I can't even eat the stuff I want to eat. And that was like success for me. And like now, I remember my sister-in-law and I were talking. And she was like, oh, are you gonna try to lose weight this year or whatever? Because it was like the beginning of the year. And I was like, no, because it's not gonna make me happy. And I keep going back and forth. And at this point, I just want to be healthy. So now it's like when I go to the gym, it's lift weights. I have to make sure that I'm making my bones strong. Like my mindset had to shift from what I thought healthy success was, like body wise. And just like not beating up on my body and being like, okay, well, if I'm just walking today, I'm gonna just walk fast, or I'm gonna, make sure I get vitamin D. Like my mindset around it has just totally changed. So now I can enjoy it. Like last night, I literally was lifting weights. I was listening on a call and I was like, okay, but now I got to finish because this is one of the goals that I want to meet. So it's like our even what we think of success, it changes. Even if it's the same goal, it'll just look different.
And I remember Sherry, she went to the gym on one of our empowerment meetings. Like, I'm going to the gym. I'll be on the call, but y'all, this is where I'm at right now. And I just love that because I had a part of my life where that one email I need to send, or that paper I needed to send, or that activity that I thought was going to get me to that milestone that was invisible, right? For me, it was invisible because when I got to that milestone, they told me, oh, you got to do more. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you didn't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is like I'm never gonna achieve their definition of successful. But when I think about my ancestors and what they wanted for me, and my parents and what they wanted from me, they would be all over themselves
Yeah.
excited, right? So it really is important for us to really think about what is the lessons. Oh, I'm sorry, not the lessons. What have we been telling ourselves that we need to debunk, that we need to challenge, that we need to recognize as a limiting factor for our own well-being, right? I was on I don't know if anybody followed Girl Track, but I love them because they have such great history lessons in addition to like meditations to help women walk. Just 30 minutes a day for 5 days. I still ain't got my shoelaces, but I'm gonna get them. Something always getting away, but I just need to get those shoelaces. I want them so bad, Roxy. But one of the ladies was sharing, I don't know if it was Vanessa, I can't remember who shared it, but she was sharing that she gets up every day. When she walks, she sometimes dressed up in her sundress. Like she gets all prettied up to go walking. And it's like a little event, and she does it for sunset, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's like so cool. So I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm just trying to enjoy me, my body, my, the earth, the sun, the whatever I'm enjoying, but I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for an audience. And I was like, that's beautiful. So I started doing that in my neighborhood. I just put on like a sundress and my tennis shoes and I go walking. And that feels good. I got a sundress on now, but I have my jacket because I'm trying to look professional for y'all.
That's funny that you said that. And even Sherry had said something when we had started our master class, and then we were going to our empowered connections. She was like, just that movement of her starting, like, had motivated her. And I think that's even like with Girl Trek, it's like once you start moving your body and stuff, and I think that's like the power behind the movement is just people like leaning into stuff that maybe has nothing to do with walking, like, oh, I'm gonna just go outside and look cute in my little workout outfit or my little you can make it just so much, it just makes it fun. And I think maybe we just are connecting with our inner and our inner child a little bit more. Where you get your new little clothes and you'll be all happy. I'm about to go outside.
Little girls when they go to school. I mean, when we seeing the kids going back to school, and you see them in their little outfits, and they're just
They're
so
just so
happy
happy.
to
Yeah.
play.
And you
That's
can't
how
tell
I'm
them
doing.
anything, and it could look crazy. It could be different colors, and they're just like, no, I picked this out. I love it.
So, Sherry, I want to tell you this because we messed up. We didn't send out the emails to the right people, and it got all mixed up who was doing what. Today was meant to be a full room, but it turned out to be the three of us, and I feel just as good about the three of us being here and as I would the other people, right? Because sometimes you also have to in your life trust that God has a plan, and His plan is always good.
100%. It doesn't matter who is here. Actually, who is here is who's supposed to be here. And I was in the wrong room. I was frantically searching from 11:59, and I went back to my calendar. Because once you accept, there's a second link. There's a second yes where the link actually is. So the first one didn't have the link, and I went and clicked the second 12 o'clock, and there it was. So I know that I'm supposed to be here. I hear what you're saying about us, getting started moving. My goal is to make it to the gym 12 times per month at least. And there was last month where it got close, and I went every day at the end of the week to make sure I made it to my 12. So I'm trying to reach my goals, and it is for me. I don't quite have the cute gym gear yet, so it's just big baggy sweats and a big sweat hood, and that's fine because I had one pair of workout pants and they were so hard to get into. I couldn't take a chance, so I just stick with the sweatpants. But everything is divinely guided. I do trust the will of God for our lives, so this is exactly where we're supposed to be at this specific time.
I believe that, and I'm just was thinking, Sherry, don't tell us your whole birthday because you may not want to tell your business. But what month were you born in?
I don't mind because
Okay, okay,
the best women age well.
that's good.
December 24th, 1967. I'm going to be 57 this year.
Oh wow, I
Yeah.
love it. My mom's birthday was December the 15th, and she passed away at the age of 57 of breast cancer. So I tell you, for many years, Sherry, one of my things that kept me busy and contributed to my burnout is I thought I was going to die at the age of 57. So I was like, I gotta do all of these things. Like, how am I going to get all these things accomplished before the clock is ticking? And so I operated in my life and I created a little level of dysfunction, not just for myself, but for my family, right? Because I was like performing. I got all this stuff I need to do. So, for instance, one of the things I used to do, Roxy, and I still do, um, we would have Thanksgiving. If anybody have a big family, you know that Thanksgiving and holidays can be stressful. Oh, it can be stressful because there's so
Not
many
gonna
people.
tell you what I do to be chilled out at Thanksgiving. Tito's is my friend. That's all I'm gonna say.
Tito's? No.
Tito's.
Oh, Tito's. Cheetos? What is Tito's? Tell me about Tito's.
Tito's is vodka. I was telling you the truth. Spiked lemonade helps for Thanksgiving. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I don't drink enough alcohol, but I'll get some Tito's for Thanksgiving. But what I was doing is micromanaging people. Okay, we're gonna have Thanksgiving at this time. Y'all gonna come in here. Y'all gonna act right. You're gonna clean up my house. All of that.
Yeah, act right.
And when I act right, come on time and help cook and clean up. Because what I do on Thanksgiving, and I've been doing it for years, because my grandmother taught me how to cook at the age of 9, believe it or not. I get up early in the morning, probably like around 2 a.m., because I want my dressing to be fresh. I want it to be like the best cornbread dressing ever. And so I get up early and I have this whole routine that I do. So by the time everybody wake up, I'm basically done, right? And I'm like just asking them to help me clean up. Just help me clean up. And it's like, oh, let's get our breakfast. Let me chill. And I'm like, no, chill. I want my house spotless. And I think because I was performing Thanksgiving, I don't think I enjoyed Thanksgiving, but I had that restful period where I burned out and I recognized that I was going too fast and I slowed down and I asked for help and invited Allison. You guys know Allison. She came to speak at some of the events for the Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass. The Caucasian, the white lady who comes and she talks. Allison gonna be like, I'm the white lady
I'm the white lady.
and the BIPOC women of color burnout group. I love her. But Allison and Ahmed are a team, but Allison come and she decided to help me, with Thanksgiving. It was the best Thanksgiving ever. It was stressless. I felt so good. And I was like, oh, that's the missing piece. Sometimes we are serving so much other people that we forget to let people serve us too. Right? And I think when you've been you've been served disrespect in the workplace, it makes you become accustomed to like just keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna get it, keep giving. Yeah. So that was me for sure. I gotta ask you this, Sherry, because I know you've been doing the homework, hopefully, because you're part of the Empowered Connection Circles and you have that homework in that replay. We've rebranded a little bit, by the way. So now the Empowered Connection Circles is gonna open up to more people for a monthly subscription. It's $97 for a monthly subscription. So I hope that you're gonna stick with us. But we're just getting started, right? But for that monthly subscription, people will have an opportunity to have some one-to-ones with me. It won't be as much as the Burnout to Breakthrough coaching folks because that's impossible for me based on my schedule. But I think that it's going to be important to have a quarterly, like an initial and a quarterly meeting with folks just to see where they are in the progress they're making with the homework that we're given. And if y'all know me, I do homework. I love homework, 57 pages worth of homework. But we got more homework than that, if you can believe it or not. You got to do the inner work. But can you tell me one thing, Sherry, that you liked about the homework that I shared for folks? Because I want to understand a little bit about that journey for you.
First of all, trying to um, create that vision because I've never really taken time to think about that. And this forces us to. Like if we're, you forget about the part that, paying your money. But if you have committed to rewriting the narrative for real, um, actually having to create a vision. I never did that for myself. I've been given the opportunity and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? But um, the way the questions are asked, the hints that you give us, for me, I had to go back and look at what was to see what needs to be. But actually trying to write a vision for myself of what it's supposed to look like when I actually rewrite the narrative when I get to the end. Or I don't even want to say there's an end, but as I move through rewriting the narrative, because I don't want to get to a place where I arrive and it's over. But as we age, as we mature, we evolve, we change, things are going to look different. Um, so like now, my husband and I, it's our first time ever living alone, just us. So
Mm.
the narrative is going to be different, because we came in with a blended family of 5 children.
Wow.
Um, right, and we both have large family. He comes from a family of 9. I have 6. It's 6 of us, so it's just us here for the first time. So as I age, the narrative is going to evolve. I don't even want to say change, but maybe more will be added. Some unneeded stuff will be taken away. But the vision in our homework um, was very challenging, even as I continue to create it, because I never really had to think about it.
Mm.
Like you, I've just been doing for so long, being a teenage mom, being on the go. Then I
Mm.
went to school. Then I went to school again. Then I went to school, school again. So, it was a lot, but I was always on, always giving, always doing. I've been a counselor to people unofficially since I was 13 years old. Um, so, now it's like for the first time I have to take a real close look at myself.
Mm.
Something that we sometimes avoid because we don't know what we're going to see or if we're going to like what we see. But I had to take a real close look at me, who I am, what God wants from me. And I know that God knows that I'm capable of doing it because He gave it to me. But it's the what I feel about myself or what I think about my ability to do what God is calling me to do. So the vision part is really big for me. And
Mm.
being the body, not the shadow, because I never even thought about that. But as a woman, as a black woman, and even in school, there were very few black women in the class. Um, but instead of being the shadow or just really embodying my whole self, I'm really picking up on that. I'm learning so much from this. I'm so excited. Very excited. Sorry for going on, but it
Oh
was getting
no,
good.
no. But I mean, I want you to have the floor more. I really want to hear from you, and I want to hear from all the women who met with me. I think I felt a little bit of hurt, Sherry, because this is my hurt. You know how like you want to give, you want to like women like us, we want to give so much, but then we have like our own obligations. We have these other things, and sometimes it can pull at you because it's like, how much am I supposed to do? And you see other people do less. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know any race of people or sexuality other than black women that give the way we do. I just don't. It's not to say that other women don't give, but I think we were conditioned to think that we have to give to the point of exhaustion, right? And so you guys are holding me accountable to that. I can see like the women would come on the call and it was like, Dr. Gordon, are you okay? And I'm like, I am okay. But I felt the love from you guys the same way I would feel from like a sister or a friend or whatever. So I was like, well, there is like a sisterhood. It's just black girl magic. That's what they call it. But it's just a sisterhood because we have this shared appreciation of our journey and what it looks like. But when I saw that movie, and I'm gonna get in trouble unless if I do it again, so I got to make sure I get permission. But I showed it on my own private group. I didn't get any money from anybody. But when I saw that movie, of the Book of Clarence, I immediately thought about somebody who feels like a nobody every day, and I was like, God dang on it, that's me. That's me. God, I literally feel like a nobody. I'm doing all these things, but I feel like a nobody. And it made me think about this gospel song that my grandma used to sing. I don't know if y'all heard about the Williams brothers, probably haven't. You heard the song? I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. He, he said, on the streets day and night, that's my life, that's my home. He was a homeless guy. Ain't got nowhere else I can go. So I just walk the streets, telling the people about Jesus from corner to corner, from door to door. And they all make fun of me and say, I'm just a nobody. I was like, oh God, I started crying. But let me just say why I feel like a nobody, right? Because the world will make you feel like sometimes when you speak in truth, you're just a nobody, right? When you're telling the truth about how you feel, about your experiences, they say, oh, you're not supposed to feel that way. What? Yeah, get over yourself. You're not tired. Get up. Do some more. And you're like, am I human? Can I bleed? Do I feel anything? And so then we get accustomed, we get a condition to believe that because other people don't see how much we need, that maybe we don't need it. Maybe we are confused. So when they were like, be the body, not the shadow, I knew what that meant because I, studied psychology and all of that. But I looked at my husband, I was like, do you know what he just said there? And he was like, no, I missed it. And I'm like, rewind, rewind, rewind. Because that's it. That's the message. And I hope one day I get to do that master class even more brighter because I'm playing around with it. I think you missed a section, the one we did Tuesday. We're going to put it on the Facebook Live group so people can see it. Hopefully, I don't get in trouble. But I want people to see it. Maybe I'll just email it to people so I won't get in real trouble. But I wanted people to think about embodiment from the different dimensions of embodiment: self-attunement, desire, right? Agency, body and self-connection. Because again, we've been told that if we're attuned to our own desires and needs and we know what we want, well, then you need to wait. I even showed a slide where I was talking about how people of color, especially Black women, they have to wait longer than any demographic in this world. Even if they have higher education, even if they have more wealth and equity in their lives, they did a study and they said we have the longest wait time of anybody. How is that possible? When you told me you was a teenage mom and you've been through all of these challenges, Sarah, and got multiple different degrees, ain't no way possible that you should be a millionaire. You didn't accomplish it all in your lifetime. You've done more work than anybody in their life deserved to have to work, and you did it because you believed in this country. You believed in hard work. You believe that you're not defined by your circumstances, right? And you got up. You said, "Get up! I'm gonna do it." Get up, Sharon, and you just keep getting up. And every time you get up, they knock you back down. Every time you get up, they knock you back down. But you keep getting up, right? Isn't that better than somebody who didn't ever be knocked down in the first place? Don't you have a certain skill set that they just don't got? They ain't got grit. I'm sorry, you're on mute. You got to talk.
Yes. And I think part of that is because, like you said, we're so used to giving out of ourselves. Um, and we've been taught that. So think about it. My grandmother, both grandmothers, Granny Braswell, Granny Rivers, right? And then my grandmother, Nor and Grandma, and then my mother. They've always, I mean, for as long as I can remember as a little girl, they've taken other children in, taken adults in. They fed people. They did for my great grandfathers, my grandfathers, my father, always giving. And I rarely saw them rest. So, I took that on as well. I had my children's friends come over and stay the night. Instead of letting my kids go out, I was always the house where everybody came to. So, of course, you're up, then you have to clean. After everybody leaves, you have to drop kids off. There was always something for us to do. So, because we, as Black women, from a long, long time ago, we're so used to giving everything to everybody.
Mm.
Um, we don't expect people to have anything left to give for us. I was speaking to a young lady yesterday, and she said, I went to school. I did like I was supposed to do. I lived good. I got a master's degree. I did everything I was supposed to do. So what am I waiting for? Those were her words for you to say that we wait. And she's young. She's only 34. She's got her master's degree. She designs clothes. She does her thing.
Mm.
But like her grandmother, who she was raised by, taking care of everybody, giving out to everybody. So even in her broken emotional self, friends call and she gives to them what she doesn't even have for herself.
Mm.
So part of the reason why we wait last is because we let everybody go in front of us.
Right.
You know, sure, you got more stuff than I do. You go ahead. Like being on the line at the supermarket. You only got this. You go ahead. It's okay. You go ahead. I'm good. I'll be okay back here. You go ahead in front of me. That's why we're last. That's part of the reason why we're last. Because
I'm
we,
not laughing. It's just I'm just thinking about it because I go to
yeah,
grocery stores and I like,
yes,
when I was in New Orleans, one of the grocery stores I went to was where, some of my clients went, some of my patients. And I would love to see the kids and their parents together because, they like to pathologize Black women and their children, right? So I would see them in the grocery store and I knew how much income, they probably made just based on the demographics and insurance or whatever. And I would see how conservative those women were with explaining to their children, this is what we have for the month. And this is what we're gonna do for the month. I mean, it was a sophisticated thing, right? And then I'm seeing other women walking in, they're just so happy, hey. And they get their stuff. And every time those women walked past them, they gave them permission to get in front of them. You got there on time, you were there before them. You got more that on your way. You had to catch a bus to get there, and all your little babies and you carrying those bags back home. And yet in the grocery store, you're polite. You're showing up, and those kids are just running around like the other kids, not their kids, right? Because their kids was good because they know don't embarrass me in this grocery store, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Don't embarrass me. If you embarrass me in the store, you ain't getting that candy. I'm gonna beat you up. That kind of stuff. But they knew that if they went to the store and their kids were out of line, they won't get in trouble. Whereas other people, they have their kids run amok, snot nose running everywhere. And I would just observe human behavior. It started making me mad though. So I was like, every time I would see a Black woman or another woman of color cross through the pathway, I would intentionally pause and say, come on, sis, walk past. Everybody else just drive past them, just zoom past, right? Nobody even stopped for them to walk with their kids, but I would purposely stop and give them a smile and say, hey, I see you. Keep doing what you're doing, because I think we do that for each other naturally. There was this guy on Facebook. I don't know if it was Facebook or Instagram. He was like, Black women know how to give a compliment. Have y'all seen that video on Instagram? It was so funny. He was giving an example. He was in a grocery store and this woman just passed by him. She was like, hey, what'd she say? Hey, guy with the blue cap and the gray hair or whatever. You so good. He said, Black women can say you cross-eyed, but they say it in a way that you feel good about it after they said it. Because we know how to compliment people because we know what we need. We don't get it enough. And so when we get an opportunity to give that joy to other people, we do it. I was laughing at myself. I was like, we didn't even record this, so we can't even share with other people. But again, this message is just for us.
It's playing on Facebook Live, so we'll share that.
Oh, you can. You can share it again? Okay. Mm-hmm. So we have like 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I want to share the vision for the Empowered Connection Circles and why I think this is needed. I think we got to get our joy back. That's number one. But joy comes sometimes in the morning for some folks because maybe we didn't get the memo that our joy is free. That's the liberation, right? Joy is not like happiness because happiness comes with some expectations, right? If I wake up in the morning and I'm struggling in a certain area, and that's the first thing I think about, I may not feel happy. I may even feel sad or worried. But if I wake up in the morning and I say, I am divinely meant to be here, my life has purpose and meaning, I'm my own success story, my ancestors are pleased, even if my circumstances is not what I want it to be, I find joy, unspeakable joy, really. But people have asked me, hey, Kim, why are you doing this? You're a psychiatrist, first of all. Psychiatrists are supposed to be, nonpartisan, non-disclosed, don't share who you are. I'm like, I've done that for years. I know how to do it better than you because I had to disclose less because I've been through more. But I also recognize that people need to connect. And how can you connect to a person unless you are comfortable with sharing your own story? That's how we connect. And so this empowerment connection circles will help people engage in what I call radical storytelling. I ain't telling y'all my definition. You got to join the Rewrite the Narrative Masterclass and know what radical storytelling means. But you engage in radical storytelling and you engage in healing circles, right? You engage in mindset shifts and limiting belief, just debunking the beliefs that's been hurting us. But you also engage in science, right? How the body works, how the mind works, how the emotions works. We got to do all of that because we've been told that our ways of healing won't work. So we got to regulate people. We got to give them prescriptions. There's nothing wrong with prescriptions. I tell people in my program, we sometimes have to rewrite the narrative around therapy medications too. But medications alone is not going to solve the problems that's endemic in our societies, right? Connection and fellowship and support. If you don't have a support system, then you need one, right? And a support system, we're going to teach women how to connect with the support system that's actually closer to them because our ecosystems are wounded or fragmented. So it's important for us to connect with that ecosystem, but learn how to do it, right? To set up some healthy boundaries, right? To set up some self-care practices that are rituals, right? Almost like habitual things that you do, like brushing your teeth, that it becomes so ingrained in your brain that everything else that was the narrative just disappear. So we have these accountability plans in place. And the people who are part of the 12-month program get that one-to-one time to really kind of engage in that empowerment. But every woman that's a part of my Rewrite the Narrative movement and empowerment connection circles will meet with me and have that support too. And we'll go over the content to some degree inside of the empowerment connection circles. And we meet in weekly. So y'all tell me how Dr. Gray gonna meet with y'all weekly. I'm gonna do it. Right? We meet in weekly to engage. And I may invite some people to kind of co-host or do that, but the whole idea is to bring people together. So spread the word, spread the love. And y'all know I like to sing, so you're gonna hear me sing or do something, some music or whatever. Sherry, what's your favorite song I've shared so far? Do you have my playlist?
I don't even know why I can't remember that song, but sometimes it's so stuck in my head. I'm gonna take my people with me. I think
Oh, I love that. We gotta play that.
sometimes I'm just like random, like get that out of your head right now. But it's over and over and over again in my head.
You
Yes,
like
because it's so powerful, and then to watch you, when that song comes on, it's just adds something else to it.
Oh my God. That's my song that I go to when I'm like, I ain't got no strength today, but I'm like gonna be like Harriet Tubman. First of all, y'all try to go back after you done rewrite the narrative. We coming after you. I got my gun blazing. I got my prayer. So, anyways, no, you guys, I live in Maryland, and so it's really nice to go actually visit the museums of Harriet Tubman. Roxy and I are in the same area. And I'm telling you, that woman had a spirit like no other. She put her faith and her mission together to get results. So that's what the Burnout to Breakthrough Coaching Program is about. Your faith and your mission aligning to get results. Now, some people have asked, hey, am I just going to be talking the faith? Y'all know I talk science. I know how to talk it better than y'all do. I'm talking about the people who hate it, not the people in this room. Y'all hate us. But we're going to talk about God. We're going to talk about our belief systems. We're going to talk about our non-belief systems. We're going to talk about tradition. We're going to talk about culture. We're going to talk about life. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about loss. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about trauma. We're going to talk. And I love to talk. But I also think that we need to play our song. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Okay, let me play the song. Roxy, you got it? Let me get it. Whoa. Y'all want
Hold
to
on,
play
while
it
you're
out?
getting it, I need to let you know that you are embodying that song. You are like by doing this for what you're doing it for. The way you did this whole thing, you really have stood up, and you really are trying to take us with you, just like Harriet Tubman. So thank you, thank you
Oh,
very
can
much.
you can you keep me in your prayers
Absolutely.
because as you know, this is not easy. And nobody know the half of it, but God knows, and you guys know because you also are going through your journey. But let's stand up together and let's fight this fight. And let's go out to vote, you guys. It's really important that we go out. And y'all know who y'all should be voting for. I ain't going to tell y'all, so people don't say what I'm doing. But you know who the president is. I can't see y'all face because I'm looking for the song. Roxy, say something so I can know you're still with me here.
Sherry, I also was thinking how Dr. Kim was saying that like you keep getting up. That's like a superpower, because my daughter was telling me she had heard this entertainer talking about how she loves to watch anime, and one of the characters in this anime, they don't have a superpower. But guess what their superpower is, if it was a superpower, was never to give up. And I was like, I was like, dang, that's like me though, because I don't have a superpower, but I'll just keep trying. Okay, you know what? Let me just do it again. Let me try something else. Let me try. So it's like that really is a superpower. Like, just keep getting up, no matter how many times you fail.
And Black women have it in dozens, spades, or whatever the thing is, and that's grit. That's grit. I get so sick and tired of people saying resilience. Shut up. You don't know what resilience is. Stop defining it for me, because you don't know what that's about. Leave that to somebody who knows, because you're pathologizing my struggle. Yeah. Because you're saying that it's okay for me to suffer and get back up over and over and over again while you watch. Because you're good at it. You're so good at it. Keep doing it. You're great.
You said while you watch. Yes.
While you watch. While you watch my resilience. Stop being a spectator. Show up. Show up for people. Because guess what? When you show up for people, white people, hear me. I love y'all.
We love you.
My friends are white. We love you. But when you show up for people with your equity, guess what? People show up for you. And the one thing that we all need is each other.
Yeah.
The one thing that we all need is each other. The benefits of us loving each other and appreciating each other for what we are, how God created all of us to be, that's the greatest gift of all.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering why you're feeling upset, if you're wondering why you're anxious, because you're not loving on people enough. And that goes for all of us, not just certain people, right?
You gave a good message about love yesterday.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It encouraged me.
We're about to stand up because the hour is up. We're done, but let's stand up and play this song, and then we're gonna say goodbye for now. Sherry, I'll be reaching out to you to develop, have our one-to-one, okay? It's not playing. Here we go.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, a bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on, I can feel it in my bones.
Early, y'all.
Early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we're gonna start moving towards that separating line. I lose any blood on the way to salvation. And I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. And I know what's around the bend might be hard to face 'cause I'm alone. And I just might fail, but Lord knows I'll try. Just as fill up the sky. Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, do you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, I hear freedom calling, calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Okay, we are going to prepare a place for other women. Okay, so you guys have your homework, you have your exercises. We got to do this again. We'll get it right next time and give other invites. But engage in the empowerment in your own lives, the healing in your own lives. Put yourself first. Put God in the center, right, of everything, because He is the center of everything we do. Place Him in your heart if you have to, sometimes. Actually, all the time. And just stay encouraged. Sherry, Roxy, I'm staying encouraged too. Have your enjoyable weekend. Tell your hubby thank you for giving us some time. I'm so glad you came, Sherry. And Roxy sent her that email so we can kind of connect for that, one-to-one. We'll see you next week.
I love y'all. I love y'all.
You too.
Love you too, Sherry. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Enjoy your weekend.
Take care. I gotta hang up here.
Okay.
Thanks,
Call me
Roxy.
after.